peace through the Rotary ideal, serve above self. Amen.
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 And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'll request if you have something to drink, kindly do raise your glass or cup. Alternatively, we can have the hand to the chest as we raise a toast to the President of the Republic of Kenya. To the President.
To the President.
Thank you. And with that, I would like now to ask Rotarians if there are any announcements. And first, I'd like to request Ambassador Dr. Josephine, are there any announcements you'd like to share with the club?
Thank you very much, President Ritesh, fellow Rotarians and guests. I think what I will announce, President Ritesh, is that we have started work on an initiative on cancer that will be a joint initiative between Rotary and the Aga Khan University Teaching Hospital, Nairobi. This is in follow-up to the very insightful discussion given to us last week by none other than Professor Saleh. We have had the initial meeting on site with Professor Saleh, and the project will cover a number of interesting events that our club and others would be expected to participate. One is the Fish Tank Fund. I think Senior Rotarian Manu Chandaria made reference to that. Another will be an activity in the month of early April, on a month or a week of early screening and diagnosis for colon cancer, where Rotarians across the country will get a free early screening and diagnosis and referral for colon cancer. The third will be a Women's Reproductive Tract Month, where, well, a month of women's reproductive tract cancer, early diagnosis and screening, using genomic medicine for breast cancer, and also looking at cancer of the cervix. And the last will be an activity on ending prostate or reducing prostate cancer in men through early diagnosis and screening. So there are 4 activity areas, President Ritesh, and we soon will be announcing the activities on 4th of April in conjunction with Anvan Lawe and the team. And we are looking forward to support, including a dinner perhaps at the Serena or a cocktail evening on the day of the launch. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Dr. Josephine, for championing such a wonderful initiative or series of initiatives. Also, a big thank you to Aga Khan University for the collaboration. Thank you so much. Do we have any other Rotarian who has an announcement? I have an announcement on behalf of the International Services Committee, whereby on an annual basis, the International Services Committee aims to raise some funds for remittance to Rotary International, which comes under every Rotarian every year, which actually means that each Rotarian is requested to give $100 contribution for the Rotary year. And Rotarian Justice Marete from the International Services Committee has requested that I make this announcement, whereby he will be having an email circulated to club members, requesting all club members to kindly, in installments or as a single payment, make a contribution of $100 so that our club can be qualified as every Rotarian every year. And with that, I welcome all the visiting Rotarians and guests, and we had a conversation earlier whereby we gave an opportunity to the visitors to introduce themselves. So now I would like Ambassador Dr. Josephine once again to kindly introduce our guest speaker for the day, Mr. Burudi.
Thank you very much, President Ritesh, fellow Rotarians and guests. It's my pleasure and honor to introduce to you this afternoon Caleb Ambulwa Burudi. Caleb is known to me for over 20 years right now, to date. And over this time, Caleb has held some very interesting positions in media. He has been a journalist, an editor, a radio presenter. He has been the director of strategy around communications in several media outfits. These include Vital Eye Communications, Kenya Times News Services, that was a government agency, one called Buruchanda Media Services, and a radio station, a very innovative one called Radio Umoja. He has also delved into party politics, but also served as UNDP Kenya Political Party's collaborative leader on a forum that looked towards the referendum in the early days of the referendum process in Kenya. After his stint in politics, he has now gone into directing other concerns around sustainable development. He also runs a public limited company for buses that ply the route between Nairobi and Western Kenya. Currently, he's the founder of a project called Police 1 Million Trees to Arrest Climate Change, run by a company called Della Calexio Africa Tree Nurseries. This is a tree nursery that he himself proprietes, he's a proprietor of. This seed nursery has donated over 100,000 seedlings to over 70 police stations across the country. Many of you will be aware, if you've been watching the Rotary WhatsApp pages, that recently he has donated tree seedlings to activities around the Rotary Club of Ngong, the Rotary Club of Kakamega, the Rotary Club in Mudangari, and some of these have gone to police stations that you might know, Mudangari Police Station being the recent recipient of these tree nurseries. Caleb is a keen, focused, resourceful person with a logical commitment to delivering on professional calling, duties, and responsibilities. And we look forward to hearing from you today, Caleb, so that you can tell us about the potential of your project to assist our club and our president in our club's 90th year around a project to plant fruit trees and other trees. Thank you very much for allowing me to welcome and to introduce our guest, President Ritesh. Would you like me? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, I'd like you to kindly welcome our guest speaker, Mr. Caleb Burudi. Kindly, the meeting is yours to carry forward.
Thank you very much, all the Rotarians and Ambassador Josephine. This is a wonderful moment for me to actually share with you the passion that I never thought I had to this magnitude, but which happens now to be happening around the country. As a journalist and in public life, I had opportunities to interact with a number of things. Some that found their way into my system, looks like. And 2 years ago, I thought of environment as something that was getting a lot of concern. Little did I know that now it was going to be the most important thing around the world, attracting so much attention. So I began a nursery in Western Kenya, at a place called Shilongo. Shilongo is on Kakamega Webuye Road. When I started planting the trees, it was just to help some young people to understand on how to do the seedlings, and but now it got going. It went on going ahead to attract a lot of attention. I got some very good moral support from people around me, and that really encouraged me. To this end, in that farm in Shilongo, I have been able to produce almost 60,000 seedlings that I have shared initially just with farmers and interested people. Later on, when I started now talking to the Kenya Forest Service, I realized it was a big thing that really needed to be done. And with my networks in terms of had friends, like then the person who was leading the conservation in Western Kenya, Mr. Obore, I had met him also a number of years when he was in the army, and now he was with Kenya Forest Service. He encouraged me, and I picked on the challenge. I went round to understand raising of these seedlings. which I have been doing it myself. Maybe you will see in the pictures later. So it became a passion to me. I started by supporting the Kenya Forest Service to plant 1,000 trees at Malava Catholic Church. And when I saw the appreciation and how it was going to change our environment, I got encouraged. I got encouraged to carry on. As I was doing the Western region nurseries, the COVID-19 came in. Although it was a challenge, but it also gave me an opportunity to start now the Nairobi chapter, where I started by doing a few seedlings, visiting Mukuka to find out the certified seeds. I started buying some seeds, planting. But what encouraged me most is the devastating impact of job loss during Corona. I used to get people coming to my farm, women and young people who had lost jobs and did not have any income. And they wanted really to do a job. You would imagine a mother coming.
This is the big one, the big event, not for last week. This is another one. Wow. So he told me, oh, the problem.
President Ritesh, could you ask everybody to mute?
Yes,
Yes.
Everyone is on
Sorry
mute.
for that. Thank you. So it was a life experience where I could find mothers passing by my farm, the nurseries, and asking for a job. You know, after they have gone round, they have no jobs, they have nothing to eat. So it forced me to get a little income here and there to add so that we could actually help these people coming around our nurseries. That encouraged me quite a bit. Although I also had challenge because now when there was a lockdown in Nairobi, my nurseries at Western, the trees were overgrowing because now we did not have people to come and collect the seedlings to come to plant. But I looked around and then I saw an opportunity in the Kenya Police because by then, the Kenya Police were the only people who were able to move around, who looked like they had capacity. Then I coined up what we are calling the police 1 million trees to arrest climate change. And this was informed by our president's directive that we revised the goal of 10% forest cover from 2030 to 2022. I saw an opportunity in it and went ahead. I approached the Kenya Police, who are more than willing to actually start planting trees. Because now I knew, one, Kenya Police have land that may not be in dispute as public land. I also saw protection because once you plant these trees, who will take care of them? I saw that they could really protect this within the station because it's not easy for anybody just to walk into a police station and cut a tree. And even after they are grown, you need really some communication for you to be allowed to cut a tree in a police station. So I found my trees had a lot of safety in police stations and a place also to grow. And again, I thought this would be, although on a lighter note, but I knew the COVID regulations, some people violated them, were petty offenders. So some of them could actually be reprimanded and help to water those trees. So that on one hand, also the country and the environment would benefit. So I went ahead and coined that 1 million police 1 million trees to arrest climate change. It is also informed by the Kenya Forest Service strategy, where actually they're expecting that for us to achieve the 1.8 billion trees by 2022, each one of us should be able to at least about 35 million Kenyans, each should plant 60 trees. So I went on the journey now to distribute these trees. I knew that I would cover these miles 1 centimeter at a time. So I started. Police were receiving the trees. on a short notice, because also that would have reduced the cost of logistics and arrangement. I could walk into a police station, put the trees in the train behind the boot of my car, walk into a police station, invite them, then we plant trees. So that is why we've been able to achieve quite a bit. I can for sure say that I'm almost at the mark of 100,000 seedlings planted in Kenya today for the last about 1.5 years that I've donated. And I have also learned quite a bit on the way. Even NYS, I have donated I donated about 3,000 seedlings to National Youth Service, where I also found that they have land, they have youth and labor to help us work on that. It is something that I feel really needs going. Now we are at a mark of about 100,000. I'm looking at the journey waiting for about 900,000 seedlings to be planted. And I saw an announcement that Rotary was going to plant trees in Ngong Hills, and that's why I picked some trees to join them, because that's also another opportunity for people who will help us plant trees. And from there, I have also seen a lot of opportunity in your setup, your clubs. And I felt that, yeah, these are the people we can really come together and achieve this goal. I am very happy to look at what is happening in the world. I have seen the US President, Biden, very keen on environment. In fact, he said it's a very urgent matter. I am also happy to have seen the newly chairman, the AU chairman, His Excellency Segedu, who has also, his agenda 1 is the climate change. So, including now our president directive, where we are expected to plant these trees, it is something that I don't think will wait. It is something that is worth our energies. I can put aside everything else and help, because in that strategy, apart from police stations, because we're planting 100 trees per police station. Of course, some have had challenge. I looked at Kamukunji, those experiences, where you find that the police station may not be having space. But interestingly, other police stations have quite a bit of space that they will want more than 100. So a police station that cannot take 100 trees with its posts, the other ones have land to plant more. So we're just trying to also see that it is done. Like Naivasha was very interesting. We have some officers that are also very good. You look at the pictures, maybe I'll share with you. You will see an OCPD coming to kneel down and plant a tree. I think that is something that even makes me wake up the next day to make sure that we have all these trees coming. I had to look for the DIG himself, get him trees, get his team at the Vigilant House. And yeah, it is something that is now, I'm very passionate about it. I have also covered disasters in my days of journalism, including where I come from, Kakamega, Kuvasali Hills, where there was mudslide. And I saw people were killed. I have reported matters in Muranga. I have seen matters in Baringo. And I'm now feeling that the second phase of this police 1 million, apart from planting the 100 trees per police station, these are the areas that of keen interest that I need to have people that we can work with to make sure that we cover these areas. Another thing in that area is the endangered species of trees. I have also looked at an opportunity in the police stations in those at least some arid areas, which can be able to support these trees of the sandalwoods. And I know Kefri has made some effort with some other people to get even seeds from India to support such programs. And I've also known the program that the Kenya Forest has to let people even commercialize these trees so that we save these trees. I think that is a line that needs to be given attention, because if we are able to plant, say, another 20 trees that are endangered in police station, they will be in very safe hands. They will grow, and at least we'll leave an inheritance for our children to be able to see them and save the endangered trees. The other trees that I also looked at, like even in my home today, the teak, it's very precious wood, but it's also almost getting distinct. So it is something that also I'm looking at. If it can be put in the safe hands, we plant. So the police and the National Youth Service would be a very good place to actually propagate these endangered species. I'm also keen because the issue of environment cannot be done without including the food security, which is one of the big agenda of our president. So, yeah, I think we need a collaboration that these fruit trees are planted. The strategy of government of discipline forces adopting forest, roads, and other public spaces is a very wonderful idea that if it's well taken, I think it will tremendously change this country. Today, this morning, I drove around Globe. Of course, as a journalist, I covered that Globe for many times. The tear gas and people fighting, the police. When you look at the Michuki Park, you can't believe you are around Nairobi River. And if we did that to every area of Nairobi, I think Nairobi will be most beautiful. So the remaining places, yes, Michuki is gone, but we are remained. This is not even a new idea by Caleb. I also know that the pesetters, Professor Wangari Maathai, will be very happy to hear from where she is that the people who remain behind, including Caleb, Burudi, and the Rotarians in Kenya, are continuing with a good job of planting trees. So that is where we are. It's within the law. I'm happy, Josephine, you talked about the referendum of 2010. I led the young people in pushing for the constitution, and I think it gave me responsibility. So when I looked at that constitution, chapter 69, expressingly expect that every Kenyan must protect the environment. That is chapter 69. The government also has a responsibility to work with everybody to make sure that they protect the environment. So I'm very happy within the law that this is something that we can be doing. Maybe my statement, next statement will be to request the Rotarians, because you already in business of helping human activities. You've already decided from within that we need to make a better life. I think this is a course that really is taken and is worth, and we can move forward to these environment issues and help the president, because I think he means so well. And to say that, yeah, we can't wait for 2030. I mean, let's work when we are alive, when we are sure we are alive. So today we are alive. We can do it as soon as 2022 to have this 10% forest cover. Because I think even in East Africa, we are the only country that is lagging behind. Tanzania is better off, Uganda is better off in terms of forest cover and even in terms of food security. So it's something that as Kenyans, it needs to be of great concern. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed. And with that, I'll request Rotarians and guests if they have any questions. I will begin with a question. Rotary Club of Nairobi this year, as we mark our 90th anniversary, we are actually carrying out a fruit tree planting initiative. And we are keen to look for partnerships where we can plant fruit trees, which will be maintained until they grow to be self-sustainable. And I just wanted to find out from you, since I've gone through your presentation and heard what you have to say. What about avocado saplings or mango saplings?
Yes, I think that's a good idea. That's a good idea. It is something that I will be more than willing to collaborate and we produce, because we need mangoes, we need fruits, even for health purposes. So the good thing about those trees is that, yes, we kill almost 3 parts with one stone, because we'll be dealing with the environment, we'll be dealing with food security, and even for medicinal purposes, you know. So that is very great idea that needs to be supported, and I'll be more than willing to support that idea.
Perfect. And past President Arun Devani has a question for you.
Let's go ahead.
Thank you very much. I like your passion and your excitement. It's nice to see a young person like you moving away from media and journalism to growing trees. Um, could you give us an idea what is normally in terms of cost? What is involved and how much, if a Rotary Club of Nairobi was to sponsor a project, what would be a cost of uh, right up to the end? In other words, buying either seedling or a small plant or the seeds and growing it and then looking after it until it becomes a tree, fruit-bearing tree. What is the normal cost involved in that one? The reason why I'm saying this is 2 years ago, I went to Kisumu twice for our eye camp. And
Yes.
the sad part was, as you approach Kisumu, everybody have cut their trees, or there are trees with no leaves, etc., just all along the road. Um, and really, from what I know about economy of Kisumu and that area, people are struggling. And I've
Yes.
always wondered, why not replace those trees with the seed fruit bearing? So
Yes.
at least for 3 months a year, they have an income. And hopefully, because it's a tree that is bearing, bringing them some money, they would not cut it for charcoal and so on. So just curious, how much would be the cost, please?
From my experience, although I've not been doing much of fruit trees, but the cost is between 150 and 350 of a seedling, depending also on the other supports that is around, because it's not, sometimes it's a straight cost, sometimes it's not. But if you spend between 150 and 250, you are in the safe hands, especially if you are getting some support from the people that will be planting the trees.
I presume that would include identifying the place, digging
Yes,
the
yes,
necessary size of the hole,
yes,
the
yes.
the immediate bolea or little
Manure,
fertilizer to be
yes,
mixed, and then a plant planted over there.
yes,
Seedling.
yes.
Okay.
Especially if you are doing it at the same place, because mainly the challenge in this production of seedling is on irrigation. You need to, and security. There are 3 components that must be taken care of. That is irrigation, because now in the tubes, it holds water for a very short time. So you need a regular irrigation, and also areas that we are planting, like the eastern part of Kenya, where we don't have much rains. So you need to be able to water the plants. So between 150 and 350, I think that you can be able to manage properly.
Sorry, last question. Are there any institution, government institution, who can help you identify which are the most suitable trees to be grown, fruit trees to be grown, and where?
Yeah, I have a very good working relationship with the Kenya Forest Service, where I have been visiting the nurseries and getting direction and information. and they're more than willing because they have that they have a responsibility in that strategy, national strategy, that the president on the president's directive that we have this forest cover, and we also have the KEFRI, Kenya, for the seeds. So they provide quality seeds, certified quality seeds. So they are available. And now with also the service that yeah, people are trained, like the National Youth Service that I've been working with, there are people who already have information, they're trained. And also the Kenya Police, the people who are more than willing, I think they're also exposed. Yeah. So those are people that can really help us.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you. We have a couple more questions. Dr. Margareta has raised her hand, and Vice President Dr. Manu Chandaria as well.
Shall I just proceed?
Yes, please.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think somebody needs to mute their phone. Someone's got to mute. They're busy chatting, and we can't quite hear. What I wanted to thank you so much. I thought that was very enlightening, and I thought that it was quite ingenious to go to police stations. What a wonderful idea. I mean, they are so barren. And as you say, the security element that they won't get chopped down in a police station, I think that's a marvelous idea. And I think as President Ritesh mentioned about our fruit trees, I think we might want to discuss how maybe even we could piggyback and thinking about security as an aspect. Location is very important, and perhaps police stations are one venue. Also, I was just going to say that I know that the Kenya Horticultural Society is very well informed about plants and trees and whatever. And I think that if we are thinking about planting in other parts of Kenya, such as dry areas, we might want to contact them also about succulents, plants and fruit trees, which sort could actually survive in less areable environments, because of course that's important. So I just want to make those comments and to thank you very much. That's very clever idea. Yes, and encourage you to go forward.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Margareta. And now we have a question from Dr. Manu Chandaria. Sorry, you're on mute.
Thank you. Thank you for having a speaker today to speak on greening Kenya or increasing our forest cover. I think it takes a lot of more people than what we who are interested in really doing it. But even a little drop is better than nothing. What I would like to find out that in the police station, yes, they might be secured. My example was very interesting that I did about 24 police stations. I prepared children's park in each one of them. And I think it lasted them for 2 to 3 years or 4 years. After that, there was not a possibility even to repair anything. And slowly, everything went away. I don't think the trees will go away. Probably trees will stay. But I think school is another classical example that we can do. We have got Wildlife Direct. The lady who runs that has got, I think, 600 schools in which she has got the clubs. And I'm sure that we can organize something with that. But I think it's very, very much necessary that somebody looks after it. Our schools are barren, our police stations are barren, and the responsibility, it's nice to say that they will look after it, but my chances of them are 1 in 10. or 2 in 10 probably. So I think it might be a good idea to do something about it. Maybe police station, maybe schools. The schools, the children are interested, and children have no other interest besides being there and studying and going away from there. So I think that could be a very interesting possibility. So I'm glad that, as I told you that earlier, that Dr. Matiangi and the Minister of Interior wanted to plant X amount of trees. And after 3 years or 2.5 years probably of exercise, we couldn't even get 2,000 trees. Neither from the forest department and neither from the prisons. So it's very much to be said rather than in action. It's so difficult, but it's a good idea. Nothing stops. If you can even plant 10 trees, it's better than 0. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Manubhai, and you're truly quite an inspiration. It's wonderful to know the tree planting initiatives you have championed, and thank you for the wonderful insight. Do you have any comments, Mr. Caleb, or can we take one more question or comment from Rotarian Winnie?
Thank you, President Ritesh.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Caleb. Thank you for giving us a wonderful presentation. As we've heard from President Ritesh, this year we're planning to do fruit planting for avocado and mangoes. And my question is, why police stations and why not schools, as Mr. Manu Chandari has mentioned? Because we see in schools that the impact is quite strong, and the kids really tend to take care of that plant like it's their own, because they're always, let's say, for example, they're always looking forward to, let me plant this tree because I'll eat a lot of mangoes, and probably my mom will sell some mangoes and we'll get food from. So you find this is more of not only that child, but that impact of that family, of that. So it's not just that one tree. So that is my question. And in a police station, who will take care of the trees for the next 3 years? And your organization is quite doing well, but how do you support the young Africans, like young people who want to start growing trees? Because we'd like to support them in future in terms of, is the organization training young people, people from the university, people from schools? So that is my main questions. Those are my questions for now. Thank you so much, President Ritesh.
Thank you, Rotarian Winnie. Mr. Caleb, would you kindly like to respond? Sorry, we seem to have lost you. Mr. Caleb Burudi, are you with us? If so, could you please unmute? You're on mute.
Let me try and reach him, President Ritesh. Let me try and reach him.
Certainly. Certainly. I think we seem to have lost our speaker for the day, but in the meantime.
Yes, I think I'm back.
Ah, there we are. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Okay, thank you so much. Sorry for that. You know, as I said, the circumstances that we were in, where the initiative was trying to make the best of times then. Really, schools and churches are part of my really target in terms of where we can plant these trees. But as earlier mentioned, because of the COVID and the protocols, then schools were closed and people were not allowed to gather, because you realized the first seedlings I donated were to Malava Catholic Church. And it was supposed to have been planted during the Kenya Forest Service Day in February. But unfortunately, by then, the protocols were in March. Protocols could not allow us to gather and plant trees. So that is why I found solace in and police to be strategic for then. But you realize, as I've said, we have 1,472 police stations. Each taking 100 trees, it is not more than 200,000. But of course, I'm not only looking at the planting with police, over 800,000 seedlings needs to find a place to be planted, either in the adopted forest or with farmers or with schools. So it is something that is going to go beyond and even enhance the planting of trees to the community relationship with our police, and that will enhance security. Because even the young people, because these are role model, you know, when young people hear that a police officer is planting a tree, they could see a picture, then they will always think, yeah, this thing must be very serious, because police are seen to be very serious in the communities. So when they are planting trees, they also give very good signals to the communities to do it. And even that sense goes to the people that, you know, you don't have to play around with these trees, even police are planted. So that's one thing. But yes, I'm very open to planting trees in schools. Even with the police, we'll ask them to look around, schools around them, so that we can actually go into the community and plant those trees. We have, interestingly, in the setup of police and police stations, there are these people called major, the officers called the rank of major, who are like caretakers of the police stations. So every police station that I go to and plant trees, I must develop a relationship with this officer, because he's the caretaker. He is in charge of day-to-day activities of the. It is like Mzee wa Boma. So those are people that we really want to work with, train them, and so that we are sure that our trees are well protected. But for the schools, yes, we'll have to do more. We'll have to go to those areas that we know that these police officers should also find an opportunity to interact with the community through this project. Yes.
Thank you. And we have two more questions. One is from past President Praful Lakhani, and another one by Ambassador Dr. Josephine Ojiambo. I'll request past President Praful to go first.
President Ritesh, it's such a wonderful presentation today. But let me inform the club that Freemasons have this program going for last 8 years, and they have already arranged for planting nearly 1 million trees. Therefore, if need arises, I can give you the contacts in the Freemasons who is handling these projects, and it can be combined because they already have the experience.
Yes.
And no doubt, funds are never enough for any community service organization. Therefore, cooperation could benefit both the organizations, and the project can succeed faster. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any assistance will be greatly appreciated. Thank you. And with that, I will ask Ambassador Dr. Josephine. You had a question for us.
Yes, I had a question. First of all, I want to just commend my long-term friend and colleague, Caleb. It's great to see how you continue to, you know, metamorphosize, if I put it that way, and how you have now gone from journalism into mainstream politics and now into environmental sustainability. Congratulations. And also, I'm so delighted that you're doing a lot of charity work for sustaining community efforts. Thank you too. I wanted to speak about the school work stream. And one is just to say that more often now we're talking about growing trees as opposed to planting trees. And you remember that the Rotary Club of Ngong spoke a lot about growing trees.
Yes.
And I also wanted to say that we have a project called the Safe Return to Schools, where we're supporting schools with WASH,
Yes.
as they peel back the COVID-19 protocols and children return to school. And perhaps just to wonder if you would be able to help us train the school students and the teachers on how to grow trees, so that apart from the costs that are related to buying the seedling and making sure it thrives, that there's actually the transfer of this knowledge. So these children can then later become agents on their own for the continued sustainability of programs where we plant trees in the communities. I'd just like to challenge you to think about that, and maybe we can see how to partner with this project, which is supported by Rotarians and UNICEF. Thank you.
Yes, I'll be willing, Daktari, because what we really want to see is that we have an environment that is sustainable, environment that our other generations to come will be happy about. You know, we've really destroyed forest, the roads and all that. I wanted to mention that another area of interest that we need to look at is our roads. I'm aware that we have now a system of road maintenance where we have performance contracting, where a contractor to maintain a road is on the road 24/7. I think that is an area that if there is a collaboration, then really we can have trees taken care of on our roads, and it will make it very beautiful. And there's a space for the trees. So it is something that also needs to be considered.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And with that, I will request our President-elect, Rotarian Gideon Akwabi, to kindly give a vote of thanks to the speaker for the day, Mr. Caleb Burudi.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, President Ritesh. I'm glad Caleb comes from the land where we still have some little equatorial forest cover, and that is the Malava forest, and of course the famous Kakamega forest. And because of that preservation of those two forests, we find that to date, Kakamega still records the highest rainfall after, I think, Kericho and the Nandi Hills. Kakamega records the highest rainfall. And if you have an opportunity to go through Kakamega forest, you will truly appreciate what forest cover brings with it. You get bees, you get that cool atmosphere, you'll find different species of animals. So when Caleb finds himself on this task, I would want to say thank you and encourage him. Of course, 1.8 billion trees. I don't know whether I had billion or million. 1.8 billion trees by 2021. Ambitious.
2022, billion.
Billion, 2022 is ambitious but doable if we can divide it to 60 trees per person for a Kenyan population. Of course, it comes with costs, which, to be honest, I think 350 is reasonable, if not the minimum. And yes, I want to believe we can do this. I think my fellow Rotarian, Winnie, was a bit economical with the issues. We are already doing that, tree planting with schools, particularly our interact clubs. And I think through Winnie, we can put our heads together with Caleb and see where we can create the synergies together with the Freemasons team. So this is an ambitious project. I'm glad you started going through the police force. Now, actually, I'm told now it's not a force, it's a service.
Yes.
And that's a great way to serve. I learned one day that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. But the second best time is now.
Yes.
On my way to Kitale, I passed through my university, More University. Yes. And I was just keen to check on some trees we grew in 1990. And wow, they are big trees, big trees. And I was thoroughly excited about that exercise. And it's glad, I'm glad Ambassador Josephine and President Ritesh, you could consider that Caleb creates time to come and talk to us about this very, very important subject. With that, I want to say, Caleb, thank you so much, Oriomuno, and God bless you.
Thank you so much, President-elect Gideon, and thank you to our wonderful speaker for today, Mr. Caleb Burudi. Once again, I'd like to thank all the club members for the wonderful contributions you have made towards this conversation, as it's a very important talk for us. We are actually, as a club, embarking on a tree planting initiative, which we have initiated, and Rotarian Winnie Gerards with the Youth Service Committee, and in collaboration with the Rotaract clubs, did carry out an initial tree planting activity at the Karura Forest, and we had a wonderful event there in November. We look forward to having further trees planted definitely this year, and we do have a club member who's also going to match some collections of the club in order to get fruit trees planted. So we look forward to further communication with you, Mr. Caleb, through Ambassador Dr. Josephine. And yes, we are glad to see what prospects we have in the costings, which we can share with the club members and the committees. And thereafter, we can know the way forward with regards to the costing and the locality where it's going to be planted. Thank you for that. And with that, I'll request all club members to kindly raise a glass if you have something to drink, alternatively hand to the chest, as we raise a toast to Rotary the world over. Rotary the world.
Rotary the world.
Rotary the world.
Rotary the world. Thank you so much. And just before we close the meeting for today, I'd like us to view a very interesting video, if you'll allow me just a minute.
Our event today is to commemorate 90 years of the Rotary Club of Nairobi. It's the third oldest club in Africa. And to do that, of course, we're going to plant 90 trees today.
Karura Forest is a forest, the second largest forest within a city. The second largest urban forest, after Tijuca Forest in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. So it is the biggest urban forest in Africa. So you must be proud that you are associating yourself with a big thing. It is the second most visited place in Nairobi after Nairobi National Park. So this tree that we are going to put here today will be looked after for the next 3 years. By that, we will be able to leave it, and you can be sure that that tree is going to survive on its own. So we have a database. Today, when you plant this, I'll have it on the database that the Rotary Club of Nairobi has planted 90 trees on the 21st of November 2020 and at near Gate F, that is the physical location, and the GPS coordinates, I'll be able to take them right now and put in the system. So that when they want to come and see them at your age and they miss me in the office, somebody will just go into the system, as long as they remember it's the Rotary Club of Nairobi. They will just see they planted near Sigria Gate F. These are the GPS coordinates. They will be brought and be shown the trees that they do.
Wash your hands.
We are very grateful for your noble idea to come and partner with us to restore the people's forest. This is the lung of the city, and you have chosen a wise thing to do to partner with us to restore it. We are in the process of restoring the forest. To restore something is to bring it back to near normal or near original. So be proud that you are part of the team that is going to make sure that this forest goes back to near its original state.
I want to say thank you to everyone that's present here, members of the Rotary Club of Nairobi, Rotary Club of Nairobi Central, Rotary Club of USIU, Rotary KCA University. And a big thank you to the organizing committee led by our champion, who's standing right behind me. And Rotary Club of Nairobi has turned 90 this year. And to mark the 90th anniversary, we actually wanted to do something important and memorable. And there couldn't be anything more important and memorable than this particular event we have had today. I think we will always remember the fact that KCA University came fully branded. Appreciating this tree planting and also to mark our 90th anniversary. I would also like to say that we will have a full-out tree planting ceremony in March, and we will hope that more Rotaractors and Rotarians will participate with us for that event. Thank you.
It's my applause.
Thank you so much for viewing that with us. And with that, we close the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, President Ritesh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, President Ritesh.
Thank you.